Hi, welcome back once again to Cbse Board Economics. I'm Saddam Hussain. Today we're continuing with nominal GDP and real GDP. Let's recall what you learned in the last class. Nominal GDP is also called as GDP at current prices, and real GDP is called as GDP at constant prices. How do we find out nominal GDP? By multiplying the goods and services produced in the current year with their prices in the same year, you get nominal GDP or GDP at current prices. How do you find out real GDP? By multiplying the goods and services produced in the current year with their prices of the base year or constant year, you get real GDP or GDP at constant prices. What is a base year? Base year is a normal year in which the prices are neither too high nor too low. That means there are not too wide fluctuations in prices. That means there is no inflation in the economy. And we discussed also last time the differentiation between nominal GDP and real GDP. We discussed it. Nominal GDP increases because of increase in prices. Maybe it increases because of increase in output. But often we have seen nominal GDP or GDP at current prices increases in the economy because of inflation or rise in prices. Whether the output increases or not, but prices, or there is always inflation in the economy, because of that the nominal GDP increases. So we have seen here real GDP increases only because of increase in output, because we are keeping the prices constant. And we discussed another very important point. Nominal GDP or GDP at current prices does not show economic growth. Real GDP shows economic growth. If real GDP is increasing, definitely there is economic growth in the economy. And one more point we discussed it, increase in nominal GDP does not increase the standard of living of the people. Standard of living of the people will go up only when there is increase in real GDP. And one more point we made it last time, nominal GDP can't be used to make year-to-year comparisons in GDP. Real GDP is helpful to compare the production or output from one year to another year. And one more point we discussed was nominal GDP can't be used to make international comparisons. If you want to compare India's GDP with the GDP of UK, you can't make it in terms of nominal GDP. We have to do it international comparisons in output, that is in terms of real GDP. So that means we concluded last time nominal GDP is not very important, real GDP is very important. If the real GDP is increasing, we concluded that the standard of living of the people will go up. If the real GDP is increasing, that means output is increasing, there is economic growth. Now today, in continuation of that, we will be discussing another topic, and the last topic of nominal GDP and real GDP. Now, does increase in real GDP increase the welfare of the people? That's the question. Does increase in GDP or real GDP increase the welfare of the people? Generally, if they ask you which is more important, nominal GDP or real GDP, so we always conclude real GDP is more important. It shows economic growth, it shows standard of living of the people. But does it show welfare? Definitely not. What is welfare? Welfare is well-being of the people, happiness of the people. So happiness is something relative term. It does not increase the welfare of the people. That means there is something else. So now the question is, does increase in real GDP increase welfare of the people or welfare? Does increase in Anyway, we know nominal GDP or GDP at current prices does not increase welfare, neither increase the growth nor the standard of living of the people. That means there is too much runaway inflation in the economy. There is too much inflation. If there is too much inflation, no one will be happy. If the prices are too high, no one will be happy. Rather, the poor people will have a miserable time. Poor people will be very unhappy. But does increase in nominal GDP? No, definitely not. Does increase in real GDP increase welfare? Now we say no. So now we discuss it, why the increase in real GDP does not increase the welfare of the people. We discuss in 5-6 points. The first point, please remember, does increase in real GDP increase welfare? We write no, it does not increase the welfare. Why? Because the first point is unequal distribution of real GDP or unequal distribution. If real GDP is increasing but it is not properly distributed among the people, if real GDP is not equitably distributed in the economy among all the people, then welfare of the people will not go up. Why? Because rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer. Only rich people enjoy all the facilities, not the poor people. So the first point is, if real GDP is not equitably distributed, if it is not properly distributed in the economy among all the people, it will not increase the welfare of the people. Rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer. So welfare won't go up. Happiness of the people won't go up. That's the first point, unequal distribution of real GDP. The second point is nature of goods, more harmful products. See, real GDP is increasing. Real GDP is increasing because of more production of harmful products, such as maybe cigarettes, maybe some drugs, or maybe because of arms and ammunition in the economy, which definitely won't increase the welfare of the people. So if there is more harmful alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, GDP will increase. You agree to that? When we produce more of cigarettes, alcohol or drugs in the economy, or when we produce more of arms and ammunition in the economy, real GDP increases, but it will definitely not increase the welfare of the people. That's the second point. The first point is unequal distribution of real GDP. The second point is nature of goods, more harmful products. The third point is leisure time activities or services of family members. What it means, see, these activities are not included while calculating GDP. Leisure time activities. Which are the leisure time activities? Maybe sports, games, maybe you are going for a morning walk, or maybe you have some hobbies. So these will definitely increase the welfare of the people. Sports, games and other leisure time activities. And even the services of family members, they help each other. Maybe the services of housewives, maybe the services of mothers, sisters, brothers. They increase the welfare of the people, but they are not included, estimated while calculating GDP. So that means real GDP is not an indicator of welfare of the people. So the first point is unequal distribution of real GDP. The second point is maybe there are more harmful products in the economy. The third point is leisure time activities like sports and games and the services of housewives are not included, but definitely they will increase the welfare of the people. And the fourth point is externalities. This point is very, very important. Externalities. There are two kinds of externalities, positive externalities and negative externalities. We'll discuss what are externalities, what is the definition of externalities. Externalities means, externalities are the harms or benefits caused to an individual for which no one is paid or penalized. What it means, someone is giving you benefit but you are not paying him, or someone is harming you, you are not punishing him. That's externalities. What are externalities? Externalities are harm or benefits cost to an individual for which no one is paid or penalized. What exactly? There are two kinds of externalities. One is positive externalities. What are positive externalities? Positive externalities are those which will benefit you, but you don't pay anything to anyone. No one is paid for. Which are these positive externalities? Maybe the government provides you parks, government provides you sports complexes, government provides you street lighting, roads, the government provides you gymnasiums, government provides you maybe sports complexes. These all increase the welfare of the people, but we don't pay anything to the government. So these are positive externalities. Positive externalities are those which will increase the welfare of the people, such as sports complexes, such as swimming pools, such as roads, street lighting, parks, which the government provides you. They increase the welfare of the people for which no one is paid for. We don't have to pay anything for that. What are negative externalities? Negative externalities are air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, for which no one is penalized. So factories pollute the atmosphere, factories pollute the rivers, factories pollute the oceans, factories pollute the atmosphere. Are we penalizing anyone? No. Cars pollute. So pollution is one negative externality. So now I repeat once again, externalities. Externalities are harms or benefits caused to an individual for which no one is paid for or penalized. There are two kinds of externalities. One is positive externalities, one is negative externalities. Positive externalities increase the welfare of the people, for which we don't have to pay anything to anyone. So which are the positive externalities? These can be sports complexes, these can be roads, these can be street lighting, these can be other facilities which the government provides you, parks, the facilities which will increase your welfare. What are negative externalities? Negative externalities are air pollution, water pollution, and noise pollution caused by the factories in your area, so for which we are not penalizing anyone. They decrease the welfare of the people. So we are discussing, does increase in real GDP increase the welfare of the people? We said no, increase in real GDP is not a guarantee that welfare of the people will go up. Why? Because number one, unequal or distribution of real GDP. Number two, nature of goods, more harmful products. Number three, leisure time activities or services of family members, though they increase the welfare of the people, they are not included. Number four, externalities. Externalities are the harms or benefits caused to an individual for which no one is paid or penalized. There are two kinds of externalities, positive and negative externalities, which we discussed. The next one is fifth, growth of population is greater than the real GDP growth. What it means? Of course, real GDP is increasing. Real GDP is increasing. So we expect in a country like India, but still the real GDP is increasing, but welfare of the people is not going up. Why? Because the growth of the population growth is much faster than the growth in real GDP. Real GDP is increasing like this very slowly, but the rate of growth in population is much faster, so welfare of the people will not go up. If the population growth is much faster than the growth in real GDP, welfare of the people will not go up. These five are very important. We added one more, value of goods kept for self-consumption. In the villages and all, they produce their own food grains, they keep it for themselves, that increase the welfare. They construct their own houses, own account production, they make their own implements. They all increase the welfare of the people, but those values are oftentimes not included in real GDP. We discuss once again, the question is, last time we discussed it, one is nominal GDP, one is real GDP. We discussed real GDP is very important because the increase in real GDP increase the standard of living of the people, growth in the economy. But now we are discussing it, does increase in real GDP increase the welfare of the people? The answer is no. Increase in real GDP is not a guarantee that the welfare of the people will go up. Why? Because of these 5 reasons. The first reason was unequal distribution of real GDP. If the real GDP is not properly distributed in the economy, rich becomes richer and the poor becomes poorer, so welfare of the people will not go up. The second point, nature of goods. If the economy is producing more of harmful products like cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, or arms and ammunition, welfare of the people will not go up. The third point is leisure time activities or services of family members like housewives and all are not included, but they increase the welfare, but they are not included while calculating real GDP. The fourth point is externalities, positive externalities and negative externalities. Externalities are harms and benefits caused to an individual for which no one is paid or penalized. There are 2 kinds of externalities. Positive externalities always increase the welfare of the people. This is parks, construction of roads, street lighting, sports complexes. Negative externalities decrease the welfare of the people. These can be air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution caused by industries. And the next one is growth of population is much faster than the growth of increase in real GDP. And the last point is value of goods kept for self-consumption in villages and that the farmers, they produce goods for themselves, food grains and some farm implements that increase their happiness, but they are not included. So that is it. The question is, does increase in real GDP increase the welfare of the people? Definitely not. So I'm sure you must have followed it. That's all we have time for now. Thank you very much for watching. Share it, like it and comment. So till we meet next time, it's goodbye from Saddam Hussein. Bye bye.